Hello, once again, for another episode of the Wisdom of the Tarot. Today, I'm talking about two cards, the Sun and the Moon. And we must remember that the moon's light is a reflection of the sun. It has no light of its own. And in that lies some of what we're going to say today. I'll start with the moon. Now, I'm going to quote from Shakespeare here, a famous quote. "Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest thy love prove likewise variable." This is from Romeo and Juliet, quite a famous quote. But it is fairly relevant because the moon is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it brings inspiration. And it's the kind of inspiration you may have in dreams or through meditation, maybe. I remember hearing some years ago that Paul McCartney woke up in the morning with the whole of the Song of Yesterday in his head, and he promptly wrote it down. And of course, that became a major bestseller. So that is an illustration of the inspiration that comes through the moon. However, although it can bring inspiration, it also can refer to illusion or delusion. Now, to some extent, and some tarot readers will say if they're doing a spread for someone, if the moon comes out, they'll put the cards away. It's not the right time. If you're just pulling one card, that's not particularly relevant. But it is relevant to look at the other side of the moon, the illusion, the delusion. And the path, or spiritual path, is full of difficulties sometimes, and may well take us down what I call blind alleys. And I'm not afraid to admit that I've been down a couple myself. We talked in other previous episodes about the star and finding oneself and be at peace with oneself. And oddly enough, that can be the very time that someone can go down the path of illusion. They believe they're invincible. They believe they can heal the world. They believe that they may even believe they're some master or great spiritual teacher. Now, that isn't to say that they are not a good teacher, but be careful. The road to spirituality, particularly these days, has many pitfalls. And if you look on the net, you'll see goodness knows how many advertisements for this or that, be a master in a weekend, this kind of thing. The road to spirituality is a process, and we can go through ups and downs. And it is really important to not lose your rational mind in this. Because if something appears so wonderful and vast and good to be true, it may not be. Now, this is where you've got to use your own judgment and good sense. And in fact, the next card we talk about next week will indeed be judgment. So this is an interesting card. I think if you pull this card, you have to be absolutely honest with yourself. Are you going down blind alleys? Is this something that is real? But your true real self, your integrity, your good sense will tell you. So there is a warning in this card, although, as I said, sometimes it can merely mean inspiration, the reflection of the sun's light. So let's just then talk about the sun coming in here. Now, obviously, when one sees this card, it's almost self-evident that this is a card of success. But it's not the kind of success that comes to you in your lap. This is probably a card where you've been working very hard at something. Now, if you put enough attention to something and you work hard enough, the chances are very likely you will get success. So you can bathe in the light of the sun, because this is a time to say, yes, you're doing well. Yes, you've put in the hard work. And in terms of your spiritual path, that hard work comes from self-analysis. Self-analysis, not by judgment, not by criticism, but by self-love. So this is a wonderful card. Bathe in its light. Enjoy the success when you have it. And know that you have done well, because success does only come from the pure light, the clear light of the sun, and of course, the spiritual source. Go well.